on the 1000 North Broadway towards North Park Drive in North Albany.
Multiple explosions coming from 661. Unable to get any ambulance, any rig down except for 667. Automatically go to a third alarm.
Hey, welcome to another Ask Scanner School. My name is Phil Lichtenberger, and this is here, or this session right now is here to answer your scanner radio questions. And if this is your first time joining us, let me say welcome. We run a podcast that comes out every Tuesday, and on the first Tuesday of every month, we answer scanner radio questions. And part of that promise and dedication to you is to come here live on social media. So it's on YouTube, we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, and we are also going to be on Instagram, Facebook. I miss on Twitter and YouTube. There we go. Like I haven't done this enough, right? It just seems like every month it always seems like I just did this yesterday, but at the same time as I'm preparing for all this, it seems like it's been forever since I've done it. So it's one of these weird things. If you guys are catching us on a replay too, thanks a lot for catching the replay. And again, if you ask your questions on a replay down in the comments section, I'll make sure that I come back here and do my best to answer all your questions. So if you're catching us live, just go ahead over there in the comment side over, is it this side of the screen, I guess, maybe? Or is it the other side of the screen? It's kind of hard to tell. Leave me a question over there. So let me go ahead and we'll add the chat box into the screen here so you guys can see what's going on in the conversations. But looks like Arthur is in early tonight. He'll be on Zoom later on. And again, thanks for the reminder. The Zoom session is up and running right now for anybody who is a Patreon supporter at the extra credit level. So we definitely have a couple people on there too. We got Brian, I got Chris, Kenneth, Greg, and looks like we've got Mike and Bill on there as well. So thank you all for joining us over on the Zoom session. And let's see, we got John is in over, looks like, I'm trying to think, it looks like you might be in on YouTube. So John is saying looking good and joining from New Jersey. Glenn is in from Baldwin. Glenn, good to have you in, another Long Islander. Wayne is in from Pennsylvania. Wayne, good to see you in. And yes, Glenn spoke to me over on TikTok. So if you guys aren't aware, I've been trying to do some TikToks. It's a little weird doing creative stuff over there. I feel like one of the older guys is trying to play in that sandbox, but there's a lot of good radio content on there. A lot of guys are sharing what they're doing for amateur radio, such as Summits on the Air, Parks on the Air. They're showing some of their DXing and just some of the stuff they're playing around with. There's also a couple of guys out there throwing some scanner stuff around. So there's quite a few people over there doing the radio stuff over on TikTok. So I'm happy to be part of that. And we're just a couple hundred shy of 1,000. So once we do that and we hit that 1,000 mark, we can go live over there. So this Tuesday thing would also be on that platform as well. So if it's not all people dancing and doing fads. It's some educational stuff over there as well. So yeah, Glenn, you can go ahead and ask a follow-up question here if you want to what we were talking about. And looks like K-Love49 in from Thomasville, Georgia. Sounds like a FM radio call sign you got there. Let's see what else we got in here as well. And looks like that is it. So, and again, we've got Chris and Greg chiming in over on the chat box over there. So let's go through what we talked about before. Glenn, you were looking for a radio for Nassau County, New York. I think it's a good place to start because I'm pretty familiar with it and gets the ball rolling a little bit. So let's take a quick look here. Let me bring up on the screen over here. We will bring up another window and let's see, radio reference apps database, and let's do some navigation. So we'll do this and transition. And looks like we have a broken thing here. Let me go back here and change that. Ooh, don't know why this wants to break. Let's try this again. We'll transition back over. Can't do it from here. Let's see what's going to happen. If I come back to this, go back to here. Safari. Let me do it this way. It's always something, right, guys? Too many options here. It worked before I went live, and now it doesn't want to work. Show window with empty names. There we go. Click, click, transition. All right, so let's go over to here. So we should have in the screen radio reference. If you guys aren't all familiar with radio reference, you guys are living under a rock. Radio reference is the biggest scanner radio website out there, and for a very good reason, right? It's a great website, great resource, and pretty much community driven. So there's a radio, the database out here is user submitted data. They don't like to take information that comes directly out of an FCC website, right? It's got to be verified to be used in order for it to make it to the database. So with it being community-based here, it's a lot of information that comes from people understanding what is going on. So for our case, Glenn, what we're going to do is we'll click on New York, and we'll jump right down here into Nassau County. So as you and I were talking before about different things in the county, typically what I would do is, like, if I was pretending I was coming into this brand new, so you can get my mindset on how I go through these things, we'll take it from the top down, right? So we're going to look right here and say, okay, Nassau County Public Safety, right, NCPD, they'll operate on this P25 Phase 2 system. So let's put that in the back of our minds, that we know we have a Phase 2 system here, right? That's what we're going to look at. We also know that the fire department's on it because it's listed up here as well. We got some information, right? Nassau County Firecom is leaving. It's bad. I got to go in here and modify this. Are leaving in 4610, right? They're moving up to a new countywide dispatch. So there's still kind of simulcasting on both. And also there's attack 1. So we have a lot of stuff in here. Well, look, FM narrow, FM. There's no P25, no DMR, right? We are pretty good on this part of it. Any scanner radio so far, so good. Scroll down a little bit more. We got some Medcom stuff, but as we see here, Nassau County Medcom now uses the P25 system. So we know we need to have the P25 system in there as well to go into Medcom. And then we start going through some of the municipalities, and just looking through here, like Flora Park PD, Freeport PD, all of these, right? Town of Hempstead is on this turbo system on here. And we just keep notes, right? Keep notes of what's going on here as we go through the list. So all the fire departments down here, right? This is where all the fire districts are down here. And again, we can see FM, going through the whole thing, right? We're just looking through all these frequencies here. And it's pretty easy, right? We got a couple in here for school districts or DMR. I know there's a couple of small things in here that are DMR. But I guess they must have either hid them for me or they must have changed. But we keep on going, and we get down to the bottom here. And this is where all the trunk systems are. So again, we know we have to jump into the Nassau County P25 system. So we are going to go ahead and do that, Nassau County Public Safety. Now, we got a little flag here that says some of the talk groups in the system are using P25 Phase 2. This is kind of like a boilerplate for any P25 system in radio reference at this point. It doesn't mean that they are using Phase 2. It just means that the system is capable of Phase 2. As we scroll through it, we can see DE, 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 DD, DDD, right? I don't see anything in here that has the letter T for Tango. T would represent a TDMA talk group or a Phase 2 talk group. The D represents it is a Phase 1 talk group. And again, you can get that by hovering over the mode, and it will pop up with an example or a definition of what everything is in there. Now, what we are looking at, unfortunately, is encryption all down the line for public safety, all right? Not only for the county, but also when we start looking at the villages, right? All the villages are encrypted as well. We are fortunate enough to have, some stuff not encrypted, but for the most part, this is what we were looking at. So when it comes to picking a scanner for this area, the other thing we want to look at too is the word simulcast, right? Simulcast is a killer when it comes to P25. So some radios work extremely well when it comes to P25. In simulcast, some radios do not work as well. If I were to take, and no offense to anybody who loves Whistler, but if I were to take this radio, the TRX-1, out with me in a simulcast environment, it's not going to make a peep, okay? It doesn't work that well. However, if I come over here and I take my SDS to 100, this thing will not shut up. It's kind of like my kid, right? It just keeps going and going and going and going. Now, the reason for that is that it's a different performance under the hood, right? They analyze the signal completely differently. When the scanners receive signals in digital, it's zeros and ones. And this is what ends up happening, right? We're going to hold my hand up in the air over here, right? The scanner expects to have, in time, the zeros and ones come in. When you have simulcast, that means you've got multiple transmitter locations. I want to say this clear. It's a location. It's not a site. It's a location. In radio reference, we have simulcast site, UHF site, 800 site. These sites are actually networks of transmitter locations. So let me come over here and get rid of the picture-in-picture so you can see this a little bit better. So what we have is the transmitter sites all transmit at the same time. And again, we have zeros and ones that are all coming in sequence, in time, right? And the radio knows that this is the sequence. And when all these come in at the right time, it can put the signal back together again. Well, when you have multiple transmitter locations coming in, all of a sudden now, what looks like this starts to look like this, right? And then things fade in and out. And as that happens, the scanner doesn't know when zeros and ones are supposed to be anymore, because now it's seeing 2 zeros or a 1 and a 0, or it's getting all messed up as to where things are supposed to be. A Humpty Dumpty can't be put back together again is basically what's happening here. The IQ reception in a SDS scanner or even your SDR receiver works because it analyzes the two paths, the I and the Q. Whereas your older scanners, they were never made for that, right? So this is kind of why things are with the SDS 100, 200. Now, there is a price difference between going from a 996P2 or a 436 HP into an SDS 100. First of all, flagship model. Second of all, latest and greatest, okay? You're going to pay the premium because it's the newest model out there. And yes, it's several years old at this point, but it's still the latest release, top-of-the-line scanner by Uniden. Just like on the Whistler side, the TRX-1 and the TRX-2 still commands a premium price tag from them because it is their top-of-the-line scanner. Like them both, they both have their own pros and cons, but picking a scanner right now for Nassau County, though, going back to that one, most of the activity is on the UHF side of the house. So if I transition back over here, we are looking at the Oyster Bay simulcast or the UHF simulcast. So the TRX-1, I can use that on UHF. It's when I go up to 800 megahertz I start having a problem with it. So if you want to find on the cheaper end a 325P2, a 436 HP or something like that, you can use that as long as Nassau County sticks with their UHF spectrum. They are pushing more stuff over to 800. When that happens, you might have a headache when it comes to simulcast. But if you have no interest in monitoring Medcom or any of these fire marshal talk groups up here, right? I have yet to hear anything on these interoperability talk groups over here. Then you can go with something much cheaper. I mean, you can go with, you can grab a Baofeng radio if you want to listen to some of the fire districts. You could go with, I'm trying to find if I've got any of the other scanners over here, but I do not have any handy right here. But a BC125 AT, the SR30C, anything that can do conventional would be able to pick up the fire departments in Nassau County. So it really all depends on what your wants and needs are. Now, I know this was a long explanation for you. We spent like 10 minutes on this one so far, kind of monopolizing the channel right now. But I wanted to use this too as a really good example and a deep dive into simulcast and stuff like this, because I know this is a tripping point for a lot of people. So another thing you may want to listen to too is next Tuesday's podcast, if I've got my math right, is going to go into optimizing scan lists. And again, we do dive a little bit more into setting up your scanner for trunk radio operation on next Tuesday's podcast as well. So if you haven't yet subscribed to the podcast, make sure you go ahead and do that. And again, it's any podcast player basically we are tied into. So it would be if you have an iPhone or an Android, whatever the podcast players are on those. I just use built-in Apple stuff. But if you're a Spotify or an iHeartRadio or anything like that, we're tied into there as well. So you can follow us there, or you can catch it on our YouTube channel as well. We publish a podcast there as well. So I hope, Glenn, that this helped you out with what you were looking for. If not, feel free definitely to hit me up, and we can dive into it some more. Looking more at some chat in here too. I see Dave is in from WhatsApp. Dave, how you doing? And Rudy is in. Thumbs up from you. And it looks like over in the chat too, Ken's saying, wow, leaving 4610. Yeah, they've been leaving 4610 for the last 10 years. It's it's a slow dying death. I think Suffolk County is going to beat them out to it. Suffolk County is still looking at 4646, but there's that's going out going out as well. Low band is dying a slow death out here. All right, we got Philip in from Aberdeen, Washington. Finally got the GPS for his STS 100 and 200. Works great on his HP2. Excellent. So I assume doing some traveling with that one. And let me come back over to here. Well, you know what? Let's play around with this as well. So what's interesting is when you think about GPSs, right? I'm just seeing what you guys see. With the GPS, we have to remember that there's two settings, or there's one setting rather. That's important, and that's the range. It's the range setting on what you want to receive, and I'm explaining to you why that's important, because that creates a radius, right, around you. So if you set that to 1 mile, that's a circle 1 mile around you. If you set it for 0 miles, that's basically where you are. Now, this is important because if we come over to, say, the Nassau County, right, again, and we look at, where is it here? Well, I can't see it on here, but if I click on, say, law enforcement, and I look at the subcategory details, it gives me a little circle, right? And this is a pretty decent-sized circle because it engulfs the entire county. This means that this is the radius of this county, okay? Now, if I set my radius on my GPS receiver to 0, that means I physically need to be within this circle in order for that to start unlocking all those groups. Now, if I set my radius to 10, that means as long as my 10-mile radius circle touches the radius of this circle, it is going to unlock those groups. Now, this becomes a problem for me because if I put in my zip code and I put in, say, 20, what ends up happening with there is not only do I get it into a circle that I'm touching for my county, but I'm touching the county to the east, New York City to the west, Connecticut up here, and even some systems in New Jersey seem to spill in and enter into my scan list for some reason. I can't hear any of that stuff in my basement. So the best thing to do is to make sure that we have set it to 0 so that as we are coming into, we can enable those groups. Now, the other thing to look at too is if we come into the county again, not only does the county have different radius, but you can also look at some of these subcategories too. Like if I look at Freeport, if this was set up correctly, this is just down here in this little part of the county where Freeport is. As I zoom out, right, this is the county line here, and this is the county line over here. So this is telling me that just this little area of Freeport is right down here. So even if I was, say, in Levittown, and I had a radius of 0, I would never hear Freeport unlock in my scanner because I am not in that circle. This is where an example of where you'd want to set your radius to be whatever miles it takes to get from here to touching this radius in order to turn that on. So it's rather interesting. If the database was set up right, by an admin, there's a lot of different things that we can start pulling in when it comes to picking things up. So again, if I come into the 5 boroughs, right, we look at citywide NYPD and we look at the subcategory details, we can see, right, look at this. This goes into Nassau County again. Like, I don't want to listen to the NYPD if I'm in Nassau County, but it's this big because it's got to cover up the Bronx, it's got to cover Queens, and it covers in a little area down here, right? This is all Staten Island, but it still covers down in here. But you can see it goes all the way into Jersey, right? So if we look at New York again, and we come back into the Bronx. What happens here, right? View details. This now should cover pretty much the Bronx, right? Covers a little bit more than the Bronx, but you got to cover from side to side and everything else. Same with everything with the other boroughs as well. So we'll try Queens because Manhattan's going to be ugly to look at. But you do Queens, right? It covers the borough of Queens, a little bit of Kings or Brooklyn, but that's only because you have to go as far north and south to cover the entire area. In fact, even this area over here is part of Queens. So if the radius was set that way, it would just be way too much. So it's a lot to think about when we set up our scanners to do GPS scanning. So it's a weird beast. It's very interesting to think about how it works. But once you have it unlocked in your head as to how things are, then GPS scanning is very interesting. All right, Dylan is saying, or Dalen, any idea when the Remtronics will have any refurb units back in stock? The SCS 100 preferably, but wouldn't mind a second 200 as well. Remtronics is an antenna. Is that what you're talking about? I don't know when those are going to come back in. I don't have any visibility to anybody's inventory except my own. So you may want to reach out to Scanner Master to see when they would be getting Remtronics. I think Zip Scanner also sells those antennas as well. But you said STS 100 preferably, but wouldn't mind a second 200 as well. Yeah, again, a lot of supply and demand issues going on right now. It's been that way for a long time. And when they come in, and when they go out, they're out for a while. So it's still a hot market for these radios even today. So let us know if you find any for sure. And Philip's chiming back in again. You set yours for 50 miles or the highest range. So yeah, if you want to hear more, then that's perfect. I know the last time I was on vacation, I was in upstate New York, and setting it for like even the lowest range was too much because of the way everything was set up. I was just hearing, or it was trying to scan stuff on the other side of the mountain range for me, and there was no way I was hearing it. So, all right, just trying to look for it's a quiet night tonight. Not really getting much in. I don't see anything coming in from Twitter, so I hope that stream is working. But Arthur's saying check HRO. Let's check HRO and see what's in here. Radio, let's look. It's always fun to do this. I'm also hearing, too, you know what? We'll look at this, too. I'm hearing that Icom decided to finally knock out their Icom ICR 30. Thank you, Kenneth, for letting me know that. And I went on Icom's website yesterday, and it's not there anymore. So it's definitely gone. Let's see, discontinued items. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Discontinued. So, yep. There we go. Hey, this was discontinued, too. I like this one. I've got this radio. Looks like the Anytone 878. Why is this discontinued? They got a new one. There's like a number 2 out now or something like that just came out. So always check their discontinued stuff. There's some good stuff in here that still works. I should actually stay off this page. I may actually buy something tonight. That's not a good idea. All right, so we'll look at new products in here, and let's just do a search here. We'll do Uniden and discount price. Is it in stock? Look at this. It's in stock all over. Check. So you could come in here and buy it from HRO. And let's see if we got it over at this place too. I'm just going to transition for this reason here. Let's see, Icom America and Scanner Master. Let's see, we got wrong window. Transition. Let's see, Uniden SDS 100 and 200. Scanners. Base and mobile. Where are they hiding on me? It's hidden in plain sight. Cannot open. Doing good. Scanners. Out of stock. So there you go. But yeah, Arthur, thanks for chiming in with that one. So that was a good one. So HRO. And I'm sure if they have it here too, probably Gigaparts may have it. So let me just do this. Let's see what Gigaparts has. And no, thank you. It says add to cart. They may have it as well. Ready to ship. Check store stock. In stock. So there you go. So you maybe I'll get from Gigaparts as well. Purchase from both places. I recommend them. Recommend ScannerMaster. In fact, if you want to buy from ScannerMaster too, you can go to scannerschool.com/ScannerMaster is our affiliate link. We'll get a credit for the sale at that one. And again, let's look at Icom's website here. We go to products and we go to amateur. And if we went to handhelds, looks missing there. Receivers, there it's still up there. Okay, I was wrong. I had it under handhelds and it wasn't there. But yeah, it looks like this guy is no mas. So yeah, it's a shame. But one of these days I'll have to take mine out. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, trust me, it's in the drawer. It's in there. So too many toys. All right, let's see if we got any more questions coming in as well. So we've got, let's see. There's my question and answer. Carmen saying suggestions for an airband antenna. Are you doing this on your house, or are you putting it just on top of your scanner and going to be using it that way? That's a question for you on that one. Arthur's saying got a W901, which was good for airband. That's the Wilson antenna, or the who makes that one? Let's see, Winston or something. Watson, that's what it is. Watson. Yeah, that's not a bad antenna. Let me put this back here. Transition. It looks kind of like. Hey, Kenneth. Like this. It's there's no name on this antenna, but anybody want to buy a Upatero MVT 3200? Hit me up. This will be showcased on an upcoming podcast episode that's titled "I Would Like My Money Back." But yeah, it's kind of got a flared out, loaded base here, a little coil in the base. Not a bad size. I think the antenna works better than the scanner, but this is a weird little radio here. Oh, I got batteries in it too. Let's see if it powers up. There we go. We got power. Do I have any backlight? I got some backlight, but this is really weird. Like, I don't know if you can see the screen on it. It's really hard to show stuff on this little tiny camera here. But it's got a mode on there called Buster. I would love to know what that does. Could never find anything. But yeah, this is a unique little radio. I don't think it was supposed to be for the U.S. market. The band plan in it is definitely not for the U.S. market. It's all over the place as far as what you can receive with it. And I mean, the front keypad's in English, but that's about as far as it ever got. There's like no English manual for this one, so trying to figure it out from another Upatera is the best that I'm doing here. And in fact, where is my other UP? That one went and groove legs too. Interesting. So, but yeah, this is gonna end up back on eBay or buried in a junk drawer somewhere, I think. All right. Let's see. We got any more last minute questions coming in here that we can answer. So, Carmen's saying airband handheld. Yes. So, Dylan, sorry. Just email me direct. It's Phil, PHIL, at scannerschool.com. And just shoot me an offer. We'll see if it's, see where we go from there. Phil at scannerschool.com on that one. David, going to you. No, they won't ever stop doing encrypt. It's here to stay. We just need to get used to it and, learn to enjoy the hobby in other ways. So we don't have time to get into that little rant tonight. But what I will say for that is, just because your favorite TV show goes off the air, right, doesn't mean you stop watching TV. And just because your favorite band breaks up doesn't mean that we stop listening to music. And, I can go on and on with stuff like that. So just because your favorite agency is gone encrypt, it doesn't mean that it's time to just get rid of the scanner, right? There's other stuff out there. As we say, there's the secrets and the searches. You can find more stuff out there to listen to, I promise you. You may find out that, you get very interested in monitoring trunk systems or understanding how they work or just decoding what's out there, right? There's a lot that you can do for that. So that's that. I think my messages are coming in out of order now because things look like they're popping in all over the place on me. Yeah, things are coming in on the chat a little bit out of order. Dave is in as well. Hey, Dave, good to see you. No idea when Suffolk's going to be getting on the Site 3. It's one of these fun things of the hobby, right? We learn when people move on to things, when we discover them on there, right? And that's what keeps us on our toes. And that's what makes the hobby fun, right? For a lot of us, especially you, Dave, I know how you operate. It's fun to get out there and discover and learn and keep track of things, right? And all of a sudden, when something shows up that hasn't been there before, right, we pick up and go through that. So that's really something that we enjoy and we pick up on. So that's another thing that we can do if something goes encrypt, right? You find different things that just excite you again, and there's a lot of stuff out there that can do that. Carmen, again, go back to you with a handheld. I like the I like Arthur was saying, the Watson antennas are pretty good. I'm looking around here to see if I have one of the Diamond antennas handy. I don't though. Diamond makes a RC77CA. It's an armpit poker. If you put your radio on your belt, it will stick you under the armpit. But it's a decent sized antenna, but it works really well in the airband. I like these also, the Diamond SR 519. I put that on my radios. This is tuned up really nicely too. And again, it's one of your kids gets out of line. So anyway, a little bit of dark humor as we start wrapping things up here. All right, and let's see what we got as well. John, quick and dirty on Discovery. Can we table that to next month? Or I'll make a podcast episode on that one because we gotta wrap up here and get over to the Patreon session. So that's a really good question, but I'm not gonna have time to do that. And Rudy, volume knob sticks on the SES100. What can you do for that? Volume knob sticks as far as when it goes in and out like this, or it might be gunked up. You might be able to try and pry it and clean it a little bit. You could try and rub a little bit of rubbing alcohol in there and see if that can jar loose any gunk that you might have in there. I know that I got that problem with my Apple remote control. My daughter uses it with sticky fingers, and the menu button now sticks, and I keep dropping a little bit of rubbing alcohol in there to try and free it up. So that'll do that one. But John, it's a good question about the Discovery. I feel bad cutting you short on that one, but maybe we'll pick up next month on that question. That'll be a holdover for that one. So, but with that, let me go ahead and hit this button here really quick as I do the outro here. So again, if anybody is a Patreon supporter at the $5 a month level, we'll jump over to our Zoom session as soon as we wrap up over here. We go for about another hour, so we have a nice long conversation over there, depending where things go for the night. And anybody who's catching us on a replay, again, make sure you leave your comments down below, and we'll come back and circle around when we see that there's a couple of questions being posted. And for everybody else, again, thank you so much for being there. I can't do this stuff without you guys, so your feedback is what keeps me going. And make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you subscribe over to whatever social media platform you're catching us on. And we will catch you all again here on this social media platform next month. And again, podcasts every Tuesday.